Gentlemen and female gentlemen, welcome to a brand new video. Today we're doing a lore dive on Aboleths. I don't know what they are. They're creepy looking eel wizards or something. I don't know. A lot of people are telling me that they're cool, and I have never heard of them. So lock in, let's see what it's all about.
When you open the monster manual, right at the beginning you see the Aboleth. Really just analogous to the world of Dungeons & Dragons, where indeed the very first thing that the prime material realm ever truly saw was the one and the same.
What? Nani? Huh? These slug creatures?
Superficially, what looks to be a prehistoric type of fish, it is quite, in fact, what we would consider an aberration. These types of creatures come from without, aliens in this world, entities that defy the natural existence, monsters from the far reaches of the universe. These are aberrations. What is not born of the prime...
Wait, so they're like some kind of mistake, some sort of aberration in reality or something? They're like some metaphysical creatures. They come from the far realm. The far realm! Alright, so we're here in the material plane for the most part. There's also the Feywild and the Shadowfell, which are kind of shadows of the material plane. I'm learning a lot. The ethereal plane surrounded by the four elements. And then you have the astral plane, which is all of these separate universes. Right? I'm kind of learning. And then you got the... where's the far realm? Far realm is like Cthulhu type shit? Oh, alright.
Material realm that instead comes from what we call the far realm.
Oh! Actual outer gods! There are outer gods in D&D lore. Dude, D&D was so cool before they turned it gay. This is crazy!
The far realm is the frontier between what is and what isn't.
Right.
The difference between what can be understood and what shouldn't be understood. These are the extreme reaches of the known multiverse, as far into oblivion as you can get. When you sleep into the darkness of the beyond, when you stray far from the light of creation, there exists this far realm. Nothing in here.
So it's basically Lovecraftian in the sense that you can't really reach it. It has an impact on you, sort of, kind of. It's like this distant void.
Can truly be understood. In fact, the very act of seeing it, let alone believing it, is enough to drive any adventurer mad.
Okay, so it really went full Lovecraft. Okay, alright, full Lovecraft. Just understanding its existence drives you crazy. Alright, that's a level of terrifying that I did not expect to have in D&D, I'm not gonna lie.
For in this realm, nothing means anything, and everything is also nothing.
Alright, cool.
A wizard that travels to the far realm ceases to be a 3D object. The air is syrup, and you start growing legs instead of teeth. The entities that grow and exist in this place are as bizarre as its world, and this is just a frontier. The far realm is merely the gateway into the unknown, into the unimaginable. But it is here that the beginnings of the Aboleth come from. But how do we explain the beginnings of the Aboleths? How do you recall anything from a time before
good question.
time?
I mean, to be fair, if this is truly Lovecraftian, which obviously takes a lot of its inspiration for... I've already done Lovecraft deep dives, in case you're unaware. I have done lore dives on Lovecraft. We're consuming all lore on the channel, you should know. A lot of you are unaware. Lovecraft gets a lot of its inspiration from like different mystical beliefs, like different, some Kabbalistic styles. Like these outer universes, time and space don't exist in them. All right, so we're imagining the world to exist in a 4-dimensional hypercube, where you have the 3 dimensions of space and the dimension of time. There are no 4 dimensions in these outer realms. They're incomprehensible to a human mind. So, like, Aboleths, you can't understand them and discuss their beginning, because beginning implies time, which doesn't exist in these outer realms. Which is so cool. It's so cool that this is part of D&D lore. See, I personally believe that we live in a 5-dimensional hypercube. This is my personal belief system. Yes, it is inspired from certain philosophers. I believe we live in a 5-dimensional hypercube where we have the 3 dimensions of time, the 3 dimensions of space, the 1 dimension of time, and then a 5th dimension of holiness, of spirituality. And I believe that is kind of the realm that we exist in. So it's always really exciting to see fictional stories talk about a 5th dimension of sorts over ours. It's always interesting.
Official book recalls this epoch. No timeline exists in any wiki for this age. In fact, there's not even a name for this time in space.
Because time doesn't exist.
The gods were not even born by the time this story begins.
Damn!
In fact...
Wait, so this is more, like, these outer gods in this outer realm are even more ancient. Ancient, again, it's a borrowed term because time doesn't exist. But it's a borrowed term for more ancient than the gods.
All that ever existed was what we now call the Elder Evils. Okay. Evils might be a biased word, but these primordial filaments of eternity have no respect for life. They are so monumentally powerful that even the multiverse itself is but a hallway to grander things. And through this hallway passed one of its greatest, an entity that we shall call the Blood Queen.
Ooh.
Once this entity passed through this small tiny hallway we call the Prime Realm, an echo of this monstrosity was left. Like a piece of its magnificence that was left over, and this piece was the Prime Aboleth, the very first of its kind. This creature, this Aboleth, was a similar reflection of its mother.
Alright. So this Blood Queen thing is an even more ancient creature than the Aboleths.
Creature born perfect, intelligent, powerful, and above all, ambitious. Left in the prime material realm with no guidance, no love from its parent, it sought its fortune. No gods had been born yet.
Damn.
No true races had existed. The world was Avertoril, as it was known back then. The same world you play in when you play in any of the 5th edition campaigns, except this is prehistoric times, millions of years ago.
Shit, dude.
A planet with no lands, but encompassed entirely by water. A dark, dark world with no sun and no light. The Aboleth was alone, but there was much to discover. And its body was perfectly suited for this task.
So it's just a being existing in the endless ethos of an ancient, forgotten time before the gods. Like, where this thing is just floating around this outer realm. Alright.
You see, this creature doesn't actually age, and it lives forever.
Alright.
As only disease and war...
Dude, I just did the Tarask and that thing fucked me up. I feel like this thing is gonna be even crazier.
Or can destroy this vessel. Every 5 years, it would crave solitude in order to reproduce. And as a completely hermaphroditic creature, it lays its eggs and fertilizes them.
Bro took fuck yourself very seriously.
All by itself.
Nice. Classic.
And from the Prime Aboleth, 1 to 3 children would be born. Born with the memories of the father. The Aboleth imprints his memories onto his children.
Oh shit.
So by the time they are born, they come out as full adults in all but in size. And that was the beginning.
That is crazy.
The beginning for all in this realm. The true start to the whole mythos of Dungeons and Dragons.
I didn't realize they were such an ancient creature. I'll be honest, I really didn't think that the primordial thing would be Aboleths, you know, I didn't, these random slug space worm guys cloning themselves and having sex with itself. That is honestly very cool. I have to say, it's actually really cool.
The Aboleths took over and dominated the planet, conquering and enslaving every single new race that emerged until the planet was entirely theirs.
Damn.
Great cities were built.
Wait, so what happened to them now? Look, I don't know a lot about Dungeons & Dragons. I'm dipping my toes in. I'm learning. We'll put this on the tier list at the end of the video when we get there. But from what I understand, are the Aboleths the guys... are the Aboleths the guys that attacked the wizard that used the 12th level magic that caused all the flying islands to collapse? Were they attacked by the Aboleths? Were the Aboleths the creatures that were doing that? Or was that something else? Who was doing that? That's the Shar? Moving on.
An entire culture was formed.
Oops.
And the single greatest...
Oh, that was the Faerun. Yeah, that was the Faerun.
...empire this world would ever see was shaped.
Damn.
For eons, this was true. For countless ages, the great empire of the Aboleths reigned true. And for all this time, no real recording exists.
All right.
The gods didn't exist then.
That's crazy.
So not even they know for how long the Aboleths were kings. In fact, only the Aboleths themselves truly know. To the rest of humanity, we consider this time as the time before time, when the timelines don't even count the years.
Damn.
For they truly don't even know. This is what comes before the first recordings of the ages. What comes
So before history, the Aboleths were the dominant culture on the planet. That's actually really cool.
before what we know as the Blue Age. This age, this Blue Age, is when the gods were born. When the Dawn Wars started and the gods fought the primordials. When the sun was created.
We talked about
all was illuminated. The Aboleths...
I didn't realize the Aboleths were kind of floating around back during the Dawn Wars. They were actually the dominant culture.
Controlled the planet, and they had enslaved everyone else that existed in this world. But for all their power, for all their might, they never expected that which actually defeated them. Religion. Indeed, it was religion.
Beast! Beast! Oh my god, the D&D Crusades! No one saw it coming!
That defeated the Aboleths. For the slaves believed. The slaves of the Aboleths had faith. They prayed to the gods.
Bro, their faith in the gods gave the gods enough power to defeat the Aboleths. That's crazy.
And in the world of Dungeons & Dragons, many gods become more powerful the more servants they have, the more faith they receive.
Damn, that's a really cool part of the power system, I'm not gonna lie. That faith powers up gods. It's kind of like Noragami, the anime. But no one expects the D&D Inquisition, I guess.
The higher the number of shrines, the louder the supplicants, the more fervor from the clerics, the more mighty these gods become. This was unseen by the Aboleths, a great power they were blind to. For how could they see this coming? How could they know? How could they stop their slaves from praying? How would they stop their servants from believing?
I mean, you know what they say, and by they I mean me. The only human right people actually have is free will. There is no other human right. Every other human right is just a privilege given to you by powerful people that are letting you do it. Those things aren't rights. They're privileges that are given to you by powerful people. The only human right you actually have is free will. And that is something that even your slavers cannot stop you from having. Because technically, you think X is a human right, but if you were just in some prison, in some, I don't know, tunnel underground Gaza, your human rights mean nothing. Free will is the only thing you have.
Well...
There was a story, a really epic story. All right, this is random. There was this guy named Nathan Sharansky. He was a Israeli spy that I believe was captured by Russians. And they put him and they locked him in solitary confinement for years, and he ended up playing chess in his mind against himself for years. He was in complete solitary confinement, and he played chess in his mind for years. And after he was released from solitary confinement, he was like a grandmaster level chess player, despite the fact that he was stuck there with nothing. And he basically wrote a book where he said, human rights aren't real. The only human right you actually have is what's going on in your head. And I thought that was like, that it was such a crazy story. Such a crazy story. And that's basically what took these Aboleths down, you know? Like, these guys enslaved a population, and they could not stop their prayers. They could not stop what was happening in their head.
They couldn't. And the gods grew strong, and the gods pitied the slaves. And as such, the Aboleths were struck down.
Damn.
By all the gods above, they came down on Avertoral with an unquenched fury and destroyed the empire. All their cities collapsed, and most of the Aboleths were killed. And after the great Aboleths were defeated, the age we call the Days of Thunder began.
Ooh.
The ice caps melted, the world was shifted, and a massive continent was brought up from the deep depths of the oceans. This is when the creator races emerged. This is when the gods started keeping track of time, and the cultures that followed did so as well. And
Wow, so the Aboleths were, like, basically, they started counting the calendar after they defeated the Aboleths.
know this to be about 37,000 years ago.
That's a long time.
Or, as we
37,000 years, they don't have electricity? Damn. Damn, that must suck to be you guys. You know what? It's because they don't have biblical cultures. That's right. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. There was no Judeo-Christianity in any of these nations. That's why they still have, like, slaves and shit. Yep. Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Tesla's not canon.
call it the end of the Aboleth Empire.
They have magic. Who needs electricity when you have magic? All right, good point. Also, they don't have toilets, okay? They do not have toilets. They have to go outside to the backyard to poop, okay? You can shut the hell up with your random bullshit.
But the Aboleths are immortal.
Right.
They live forever.
Right.
And not all were killed. Technically speaking, as long as at least one Aboleth survives,
they all
the
survive.
whole race is
That's right, because they reproduce and they clone their memories into each other.
bound to rise again. And rise again they did. But this time,
Oh, wait, what?
with a hatred to rival the devils. For they have something special.
They turned these elder, ancient, immortal deity space slugs into angry, immortal deity space slugs. Hatemonger would be so proud.
We have yet to talk about. They have perfect memory. The Aboleths have the ability to recall everything that happens to them with perfect clarity and without error. Combining that with their ability to imprint their memories onto their babies creates a race where every single Aboleth remembers every single detail about every single hour
cool.
of every single day that happened within the span of
So these are the guys that know everything and remember everything through all of time that never heard of the Mind Flayers, right? Because we already did Mind Flayer lore. You should check that out. It's on the D&D playlist. I'm so proud I made playlists for everything on the homepage on Nux Taku channel. It's so beautiful now. It's so beautiful. My OCD is so happy. So these are the guys with the perfect memory of all of time. However, they don't remember the Mind Flayers. That's why there's the conspiracy theory that the Mind Flayers came from the future. Because they should know them. Because they should remember anything that happens in all of time. Which is a really cool conspiracy theory. I like the conspiracy. The Mind Flayer future conspiracy is actually pretty based. What homepage? The homepage on the Nux Taku channel. We have a The homepage has been beefed up. I made it all nice now. Made it all nice because I want to do lore dives and stuff a lot. So here's my big lore dive videos. Here's the Warhammer ones and the D&D ones. We got Adventure Time. We got my indie anime reaction playlist, the abridged anime reaction playlist. I'm sorry, I'm doing it. All right, I'm actually doing the thing that you asked me to do for years.
All the eons that have ever existed in the universe. As long as an Aboleth has seen something, then every single member of his lineage down the line will remember that event. And with perfect clarity.
That's crazy.
This is why Aboleths hate the gods. Every single one of them.
Right, because they all... Dude, that's crazy. Perfect memory is a blessing and a curse, right? Like, because perfect memory means you remember that guy kicking your ass as if it just happened to you for all of time. I don't remember who it was that said it. There was a philosopher, a Jewish philosopher, I don't remember who it was, that said that God blessed us with the ability to forget. Because you would think that, like, if you have a box and you put something in a box, it would stay in that box. So why is it that if you have your mind and you put something in your mind, it just fades over time, it just disappears? And the answer is it's a blessing, because every time you'd lose someone in your life, you would forever feel that sorrow, like you just lost that important person to you forever. Every single day you would remember that, and it would kill you and it would hurt you. So, you know, after a year, that pain fades. And you might not want to remember that as if it just happened constantly and forever. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. So these Aboleths do not have that quote-unquote blessing, and their perfect memory means they remember getting their ass handed to them every moment of every day of their lives.
Remember as clear as
really cool lore.
Yesterday, their defeat at the hands of the gods. They remember their cities. They remember their empire. And they remember their culture. They remember the slaughter that they suffered.
Elbozo.
They respect the gods, in the sense that they respect the power that they wield, but they do not honor them. They don't see the gods as this mythical thing to be awestruck by, as entities to look up to. And of course they wouldn't, for the Aboleths remember every single god's birth, and they remember many a god's death. The Aboleths know far more than the gods do, and they clearly remember a time when the gods didn't even
What about
exist.
women? They also remember everything?
And they...
Alright, so women don't remember everything. They only remember your mistakes. Alright, let's make this clear. They do not remember everything. They only remember your fuck-ups. That's very different. Moving on.
Yearn for that time again. And much like before, the Aboleths would grow in numbers and threaten the world, only to be pushed back and defeated again by the gods.
Oh no. They're like, we know everything and we're coming back and they take another L. No, Aboleths.
A cycle that would repeat itself many times through the countless ages. As an ever-ending threat. This cycle,
these nerds getting bodied, coming back every couple thousand years to get fucked again.
Of the Aboleths are always waning or waxing. They are always either in retreat or in full charge.
That's actually really cool. I like these guys.
The question is, are they currently waxing? Or are they currently waning?
Good video. Really good video.
To defeat an Aboleth, you have to understand an Aboleth. Stay tuned for the sequel to this video, where we will cover what kinds of powers do these creatures possess.
Alright, we'll see if we get to that at some point. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do Aboleth power analyses and stuff like that, including their frontal lobes and nervous systems, because the lore here is insane. Maybe we'll do that. Let me know in the comments. But for now, I'm gonna easily put the Aboleths in S tier. I hate having a lot of S tiers, man, but I have to put it on S tier on the D&D creature lore tier list. This was incredible. These are incredible creatures. They're always existing in the ether, waiting to come back. Infinite memory, infinite time, controllers from before the age of the gods. They have to go in S tier on the D&D lore list. Like, dude, it's been straight fire so far. Like, D&D lore has been incredible. So definitely subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. We are doing every lore that ever existed on the channel. So I'll see you tomorrow. We do daily videos. And remember to stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.